What's up, everybody? It's Dakota, and I'm coming with a kind of different video than I normally post on the channel. I'm a really big fan of the NBA, as you know, my Chicago Bulls shirt kind of gives it away. But I'm a really big fan of the NBA, and I kind of wanted to start doing something on the channel since I'm starting to really get back into the NBA, not just the Chicago Bulls or the Cleveland Cavaliers, since I'm from Ohio, but just getting into watching the NBA as a whole. And I've compiled a list of 5 teams that you guys should try to watch this season or to be on the lookout for this season. Before I get into my top 5, I have 2 teams that I want to mention before I get into it: the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Spurs have a really good lineup with adding Pau Gasol to the lineup, and then of course having Kawhi Leonard. I don't think them losing Tim Duncan is really going to hurt them this season. I think it's going to be a huge loss to them, obviously, because that was probably one of the best power forwards to ever play in the NBA. But I don't think it's going to hurt them as much as people think. Adding Pau Gasol back into the lineup, so that lineup with Gasol, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Kawhi Leonard, I think are going to be good enough to carry the Spurs to potentially a 2 seed, or for sure I think a 3 or a 2 seed, but there's a possibility that they could be the 1 seed by the end of this season. Of course, we have to let it all play out. And the other reason why for the Oklahoma City Thunder, excuse me, reason to watch them, Russell Westbrook. I mean, he's probably easily one of the best point guards in the NBA and probably one of the best players in the NBA. I would put him definitely in my top 3 players playing in the league right now. Triple double machine, can rebound the ball, is super athletic, score all, as many points as you need him to. I mean, single-handedly, he could probably just carry the team himself, like a LeBron-esque player. As far as you take him off the Thunder, the Thunder's roster is kind of and then you kind of throw him in there, and then the Thunder are at least a 40-win team to me. So I would be on the lookout for Oklahoma City mainly because of Russell Westbrook. They did add Victor Oladipo in the offseason. Was hoping to pair him with Kevin Durant, who went to the Golden State Warriors, who also may or may not be on my list of teams to watch. But yeah, super important to watch those 2 teams. I don't think they're nearly as important because I think their outcomes are kind of set. I think the Spurs are going to be a top team in the West, and the Thunder I think will make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be as high of a seed as they were last year. I'm thinking around maybe a 5 or a 4 seed, maybe a 6 at the lowest, but I don't see them being at the very bottom of the West. So to start my list here, number 5, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. They were 29-53 last season. They have a really young roster. They have guys like Zach LaVine and Ricky Rubio running their point. 2 really solid point guards. Neither of those guys, to me, are going to, I think, be like super mega all-star players that teams are going to try to push to trade for to add a starting point guard to the lineup. But I think they're really solid players, and their core of young guys with Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns, with Zach LaVine leading the point and taking pointers from Ricky Rubio. I feel like that team can finish really solid in the West. I think that they'll finish with a better record this year, and I think that they can make the playoffs. That's kind of my question for them: is can these young guys make a run at the playoffs? I don't mean like making it the second round or making it to the conference finals. Although if they did, that'd be really amazing. But I don't see these guys, if they make the playoffs, I don't see them going very deep in the playoffs. I see them giving whatever team they play in the first round, assuming they make the playoffs, a really good series, probably 6 games, maybe 7. But I don't see them making it out of the first round. But I kind of hope I'm wrong because I think this Minnesota Timberwolves team looks really exciting. They kind of remind me of the Los Angeles Clippers, kind of just having a lot of exciting players and just a fun team to watch. Um, the next team I have is the Golden State Warriors, who finished with the best record in NBA history, going 73-9 last season. Um, my question to them is, how are they going to play as a team? How can they play with having virtually 4 superstars on the team? I mean, let's be honest, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry could all be starters on just about any other NBA team, and I don't think anyone, maybe some people would disagree with me, but those guys could be starters on any other NBA team, and it just depends on how they can play as a team. I know Kevin Durant and I believe it was Klay Thompson and Draymond Green all played in the Olympics, and they all had really good chemistry. Of course, they were playing with other All Stars. You know, it's a Team USA. You know, there's gonna be tons of other All Stars on the team, but I think it's gonna be different coming into the NBA season. How these guys are gonna play and the lack of depth on the team. I don't think that they're gonna break their own record, but I think they're gonna be in the mid 60s to low to mid 60s as far as wins this season. I would say 61 or 62 wins as a team. I know that seems low for a team that has, Kevin Durant and Steph Curry on the same team, but with the lack of depth, I think that's really going to hurt them against teams that have fairly above average to really good benches in the NBA. And the West being a tough conference, I feel like the Golden State Warriors won't break their record, but they're still going to be a really good team. And if they're any other seed, if they're not the first or second seed in the West, I'm going to be very shocked. The third team, or number three that I have, are the Cleveland Cavaliers. They went 52 or 57 and 25 last season. I believe they were the number one seed in the East in the playoffs. And my question for them is, can they repeat with bringing back guys like Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, and LeBron James in your starting lineup? That's a really really good big three to have, and then Tristan Thompson at center. They got rid of Timothy Mozgov, which won't I don't think will hurt them that much, considering he didn't play much in the playoffs at all. I don't think he had a very big impact near the end of the season that he did at the beginning of the season, mainly because again he didn't play that much. So I think them losing Mozgov, and I believe they lost another player, but his name escapes me. They did sign Chris Anderson in the offseason. Obviously, I don't think he's going to play many minutes. He could or couldn't. I don't know. They also lost Dellavedova, which is a really solid guy for them coming off the bench. A very scrappy defensive player. So I think the Cavs will more than likely be the first, like the number one seed in the East. The only other teams I could think that could rival them for the number one seed in the East would be either the Pacers or possibly the Knicks, which kind of goes into number two, which is the New York Knicks, who finished 32 and 50 last season. And my question to them is, or my concern question is, can Melo make a run at the playoffs this year? Melo's getting up there in age. He's around the same age as LeBron and Chris Paul and Dwayne Wade. Those guys are getting towards the end of their careers, not as much in their prime or kind of coming to the end of their prime. And this is kind of where Melo is missing his window to play his best basketball and be a part of an NBA team that can win a championship. And while I don't think the Knicks are really set up to win a championship this year, I think that they can make a run at the playoffs. Adding guys like Joakim Noah and Derrick Rose, who came from the Bulls. Derrick Rose being one of my favorite players. He's in the last year of his contract. I don't think he signed any longer of a deal with New York, so I think he's just there for the 1 year, playing in a contract year. And then Joakim Noah, who's always just a physical guy. It's just if he's not even playing good basketball, he knows how to get his guys ready to play and finish out a game. So I think they have a good start, and of course Kristaps coming in his second season in the NBA. I really feel like the Knicks could make it to the second round, possibly make it to the Eastern Conference Finals if they don't have to play the Cavs in their side of the bracket. I feel like if it's, we could see a New York versus Cleveland Eastern Conference Finals. I also wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Cleveland versus Toronto matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals. All just depends how New York's seeded. I feel like they can win their first round matchup. I feel like that they could have the potential to be one of the top four teams in the East, just from the lack of power, really the only teams that I could see competing for the number one seed, the 1 and 2 seed, are the Cavs, the Raptors, the Celtics, and then the Indiana Pacers. So I guess it's also kind of like my 4 teams that I expect to take those top 4 seeds in the playoffs for the East. And then number one, teams that you should be watching for the 2016-2017 NBA season, the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, Philadelphia Sixers were 10-72 last season, and my concern and question for them is, um, will they end up, you know, not being a last place team? Like, I really feel like that this is their year to not be a team that's just dead last in the NBA. Playing in Eastern Conference, where out of the 15 teams in the conference, there's probably like 4 or 5 of them that are gonna go out and play and be able to beat a Western Conference team in a 5-7 game series. With that being said, I feel like the Sixers getting Joel Embiid back, Nerlens Noel and Jahlil Okafor, those 3 guys, being able to split up positions and stuff. All 3 really solid big men. Even though Ben Simmons is hurt, I believe for the start of the season. I'm not sure how long he's out, but when he comes back, if he does come back, I expect him to make an impact on the roster. And then, no, come on. I'm not a fan of the Sixers, but I hate to see a franchise like that not do well and just constantly get worse and worse and worse with all their first round picks and all their good draft picks that they made. Um, I just hate to see a team play like that, and I really hope that they can be like out if they're like 26th or 25th in the NBA overall as far as record or in the power rankings or something. Just any way that they're not the bottom 2 or bottom 3 teams in the NBA, I would think that the Sixers could call their season a success, and they can work on trying to be going for the playoffs, because this was a team that made the playoffs in 2011 or 2012, and then they started to only win 20 or so games a season. So this is a team that knows how to win, and a team that I believe that can win. It's just putting it all together. So for me, I'm going to be watching the Sixers this season, or at least keeping an eye on them to see if they can, obviously win more than 10 games, but also manage to stay out of the bottom 2 teams in the NBA, or at least stay from being a team that's in the bottom of the Eastern Conference and kind of creep up towards number 11 or number 12. Slow progress, Philly. And that's my list of teams to watch for in the 2016-2017 NBA season. To be honest, I wanted to throw like every team on here and just give like my expectations or like my question for one of these teams, but I feel like just to make it easier, it'd be a lot more precise and educated to just pick like a handful of teams to really look at. I know some of them, the Cavs and the Warriors made the finals last season. Anything less than a finals appearance for them is going to be a disappointment in their season. But it's really more important to look in depth as far as the teams go and kind of break down, what's going on with them and what could potentially stop either team from making the finals, and also teams that could just eventually crack the crack the code and just finally make the playoffs and make a run at the playoffs. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know I don't normally do sports videos, or at least I don't specifically do them. I have like my T-shirts, my flag and stuff recording in a different place. But that I know that's normally not what I do, but I think this is kind of what I want to do. Um, I enjoy sports. I especially love the NBA. So feedback's appreciated. Potential lists or things you'd want me to talk about the NBA. I'm open to, but I'm gonna end the video there. Make sure to leave a like and share the video if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next NBA video. I'm gonna try to record a few more times and upload by the end of next week, so I can just kind of catch up on videos and stuff that I missed for not uploading what, only 2 videos in like the past 2 months. That's crazy. I'm gonna try to change that as I try to get better. But yeah, and also be on the lookout for more NBA videos as we get into the NBA season. Um, I'm Dakota, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.